Alright. Almost like we never left. Or we're never here. One of the two. Let's start cranking these screws. I hate shit. I have full control of my stream now. What I'm used to. What I'm familiar with. Let me get my chat app open because I have no way to see if people are chatting. So, we're going to open this back up. And if anything comes through, it does. If it don't, it don't. So be what it is. The live event almost worked. I think it just needs some bugs worked out. And I think it could be a good thing. However, I hate going into the, what's it called? The YouTube live studio. It's crap. I now know the Restream Live Studio is crap. Legit firing it up from OBS is the work in progress that I've figured out over the years that has always worked the best. Now, I do appreciate the feedback though. From anybody that does watch. If you're ever commenting, watching, and it's not showing up, please try and find another way to get through. I'm sorry, I gotta grab a drink. Anyhow, let's see what happens. Is that legit? Is it? I gotta grab a drink quick. Excuse me on that one. Whoa! That's potentially the biggest cricket I think I've ever seen. Dude, where are you going? I almost tripped on a cricket like the size of this thing's gotta be the size of a 50-cent piece. I'm not sure what it would be in another country's currency, but just needed liquid. Alright, so our rad's loose at this point. I have a lot of stuff to pull out of here, but we're going to focus on the important stuff right now. I have to get to that stupid click down thing. It's not the rocky type, it's the pressure down from the top type. Let's see if we can show this. You might barely be able to see it down there. You have to put pressure on a little latch to pull your CPU out, or GPU out. Okay, got it. Disconnect our power wires. We need clippers. It's also vitally important. We're going to clip. Actually, let's not clip it. Let's undo our zip tie. Without chopping into our water cooling hoses or power cables. Alright, unclipped. Okay. So I feel better about this. This is a stream I have control over. The other way, you don't. I mean, you do, but it's a different way of doing shit. I don't like it one bit. Alright, so we're still tethered in by that wire. So here, as you can see, what I just removed from the computer. Let me grab this the best way I can. We have a fan to put here and here, both of the Corsair fans. We'll do that here in a little bit. From now, I want to get this monstrous computer off of this bench. So this was the fate of the Turbo 1060. Now, if you go watch that video and you want to leave some comments on it, what we should do with this card, like do a stream and just benchmark it further, do a stream and torture test it, or give it away, sell it, recoup some of our money spent on other stuff we've done. What do we do with this now water-cooled 1060? The way it will leave is with the water cooler, and not these two fans, but it's going to be two normal 120mm fans that I'm going to strap onto it. So it's a water-cooled Asus Turbo GTX 1060, 6 gig card with a thermal take, water 3.0 water cooler. So you have the water block with the pump, and then the rad, and then it'll be two normal 120mm fans going onto this. What do we do with it? I need some comments. Go watch the Turbo Dead 1060 Will It FPS Again video and let me know what is the fate of this card. What should we do with it? Not to worry, we need these fans. What a mess these look like they could be. We're going to throw these in a little container here so we don't lose any of them. They will go, actually they have to go with this, so we're going to need them for the 120 fans. Got to clean some stuff up here, take an airline to it. But yeah, as I said in the first stream, we'll repeat it here. This is the repaired 1060. Let's get zoomed in as far as we can possibly go, and right there you can see the repair that I did. It's not as big on screen as I'd like, but we're not under the microscope. So basically I had 4 traces that needed connected, and on those traces happened to be pads where that capacitor was needed to sit. So we pulled that capacitor off of a dead ultra low profile GTX 1050 Ti, like a Zotac with a double mini fan, like double 42mm card, or double 42mm fan type card. Super small, but it had the same size capacitors that this 1060 had. So yeah, that was the one that we did the repair on. What's the fate of it? Let me know. Go comment on the video, like it, share it, or dislike it if you disliked it. We're going to clean this up, obviously, before we do anything further with it, but we're not going to waste any more time on it. It's not important today. So, we have to make a cable. At some point, we need to cut these. I think we can literally cut these. I don't think we have to cut them. I think we can move this back 1. And that will give us enough room between the CPU cooler and the back of the case to strap these on. And that's going to be great. Okay. We'll get to that when we get to it. We're not there yet. Let's take a look at a product. We have to make a cable for this product, so I guess we look at the product first, then we can make the cable for it. I need to see where we're at. Let's go up to this one because we can get a bigger view on this camera. So here we have, this is by ID Cooling. It's the IceFlow 240. It's a GPU water cooling like similar to what we just looked at with Thermaltake. But this one, this is RGB instead of one that was not RGB and had RGB fans put on. This one also works with AuraSync, RGB Fusion. I don't know what just the regular RGB is. Maybe that's addressable RGB, MSI Mystic Light, and ASRock Polychrome Sync. The addressable RGB aspect is what we want to do. I don't want to have to plug this into a motherboard. We're going to make this so this thing works with iCUE. It doesn't say it on here, but that symbol there tells me that I think we can get this working with iCUE. As long as it has, even if it has a proprietary cable that's crazy, we're going to make a cable that'll make it work. I had one that I made and it didn't light anything up, and I think I made it wrong. Unless it's truly not addressable RGB and it's just one of those junk things that ends up needing, where is it? Yeah, okay. Ends up needing its controller. Like, that's most of this stuff. Like, here, let me show you. Most things that are RGB, standalone, or little add-in accessories, I don't think I have a controller for either one of them. No, these are the old version. Yeah, I do. Right there it is. Okay. So this is the Strimmer by Leonly. The Strimmer version 1. Here was a little, what do you want to call it? Like a little I/O control board where you would control what mode, what speed, what brightness your cables ran at. Not near as cool as being able to, like, possibly plug it into iCUE and control it there, plug it into your motherboard, and control it with whatever software you prefer to use. iCUE is pretty much the top, the king of the hill. Yeah, and then this one also had a cable where you could daisy chain off of the other one for the dual 8-pin, and it would control the same as the CPU. They'd be linked up. In this, I think this, yeah, I have connectors here. This would be super easy to connect in to let iCUE control it, because we're messing with 3 wires, which one's going to carry 5 volt, one's going to be the data pin, and one's going to be ground. So we may even be able to add that to the system, but not today. But back to the point, most stuff that is an accessory comes with some type of controller that has set modes, set speeds, and set colors. Like, this is what you're using to adjust. We don't want that. We want it so we can control it from within iCUE, so we need to do a little work to do that. Now let's finish taking a look at the product. I think, are we going to need this wire? Yeah, we'll need that one. This may make our life easier. I did not know ID Cooling made thermal paste, but hey, they do. And I don't believe we're going to need... Oh, that has built-in pins. These don't pull out. That would be so nice to chop that and just use that the way it is. I don't want to cut it though. Can we pop this open and unsolder it? We'll leave the controller board alone. We'll just make our own cable. Okay, it was a thought. What do we have here? Accessories. Yeah, this is that's the crazy box that, yeah. Okay, so 16, 13. Little heat sinks for the VRAMs. VRAM and the MOSFETs, possibly. AMD Vega, we don't need Vega. We don't need RX. So RTX 20 series, that's what we're going to use. Wow, this thing covers a lot of graphics cards, I guess. I guess I didn't know that it actually covered this many graphics cards. So, wow, we could even do GTX 10 series. And like 950, 1050, 1050 Ti cards. So it goes back as far as that. And for GTX 1600, oh, like the 1660 and all that. Okay, so they even had a different pattern for that. Nice. Alright, we've got some screws. I'm certain we'll need those and need some portion of these. And that possibly as well. Let's throw this back in the box and get this unit out to take a look at it. So, you don't get a set of fans, you get one unit with 220 fans in. Now I wonder, are they actual fans under there? No, it has to be. Nope, it's all one. Okay, so it's 2 fans built into one unit. Kind of the cheap way to do it, but we're not complaining. We're going to water cool a 2080 Ti with this thing. Okay, and then we have the block that goes to our GPU. This right here, this is an annoyance. Corsair, get on the freaking ball and make a 92mm QL series fan. Just 92mm. Make it, it will sell for people that want it for applications like this where they can swap the fan out and they would rather have a Corsair fan instead of some off-brand or whatever comes with it. Your fans look awesome. Make one. You're missing a portion of a market. Maybe not a huge market, but it's still another portion of a market that you're not getting into. And we have the manual. Let's get this massive box out of our way. So the way that we had that 1060 mounted in the case, let's pretend the computer case is here with the bottom here, top up here, and we were looking at, how did we have that mounted? That was a really crazy way. So it would be like that, and then our cables came down, did like a little twist. I think I'm going to do it like that, just to keep them back out of the way. So this setup, even though we have our water block and everything here, this setup is fine. From what I understand, one of the ways, and again, picture this, that the bottom of the computer case is right here, the top is up this way. It's fine to set this cooling unit up like this, or out like this. I don't think you want it like that, and you definitely don't want it up above your CPU like most, like up above the GPU and the CPU like most water cooling for graphics cards. And why that is your pump is not here. Your pump is actually built in to the radiator. So it's in a weird spot. So having it here is not going to let any air build up here. It might trap some air, but yeah, it recommends that way and that way, I believe, in the manual, and it might possibly say something about that way, but I don't believe that it does. Anyhow, let's continue on. We have to get this thing built and get it put in. We have to get it put on a 2080. There's a lot of stuff to go forward with. We're going to try it like that. We need to get this screwed on here. Okay, so it's 2 bags of almost identical screws. Let's just wager a guess that this is one of them. So what is this unit here? It's really odd that that's connected. I wonder if that's something we have to connect to. No, that's just the pump. You could power that off of a fan header. Certainly, you don't have to use SATA power. Get that out of here. We're not using that. That's stupid. Okay, so we're going to have two sets of RGB coming off of that. So we need this one, and then one from this one. Okay, there. And then we have 3 separate fan headers that need plugged in. Well, 2 fan headers, and one of them is a fan header that runs the pump. So, potentially we're going to use that. I think we'll do the same thing that I had done with the other setup. I think for the fan that's blowing on the MOSFETs and some of the VRAMs on the card, we'll run this one right off the system, like the system fan port header, and then the pump, at least that one, and the other one are going to go back. They're going to go back to the PWM header, unless, no, I think my system fan header is only 3, not 4. I don't think it's a PWM header. If that's the case, we will run the pump off of that and throw the other 2 back to the PWM splitter. Okay, radiator on. We need to tear down a GPU, and we need to make a cable. Which one do we do first? Which one's going to be less of a hassle? I say we make the cable. No, we can make the cable last. Let's rip apart a GPU. Alright, so really don't want to do this, but we're going to water cool it versus air cooling. So we need to tear this thing apart. That is a lot of screws. And we have our back plate on here. That's definitely 100% not going back on, unless it'll stay on like it is. Let's get a... Will this one grab the small one? It will, and it will. Same screws as all the other ones that came out for holding the back plate on. No need to worry. No need to worry. Trying to decide, are we being held on with thermal pads? Some type of sticky? I think it is. I think we got thermal pads or sticky stuff. So let's leave that there for now. If it's going to stay stuck, leave the back plate on. We need to tear the heatsink portion off. The thing is, I wondered, do we have to tear the fan unit off of the fin stack to get this thing apart? We should not need to. And that looks like it connects to... Alright. So let's undo these back two right now. Back 3 or 2? 3. Just in case. Because it looks like it connects to where, like the mid frame, I'm gonna call it, where all the thermal pads are gonna go. Looks like these screws connect to that. At least these 3. We just dropped that completely in and wedged it. So now we gotta figure out where that screw went. I can almost see it. I think it's right there, wedged tight. I'm not gonna worry about it right now. Let's take this. Where are they? The important screws out. The ones holding all that together. Puncture that warranty sticker. Get out of here. And it's loose. There it is, the one we lost. Okay. So let's try and separate. That was too easy. I was not expecting that. Now, everything is disconnected there. That paste looks like crap, and there was some spots it wasn't even connected. Look at that. Wow. Look at that bare spot where there was nothing. Nothing on this heat spreader, and nothing even on the die on the GPU. Not having a whole lot of faith here. So now, do we need that mid-frame off of there? That's the mid-frame I was talking about. That seems like it's not the best plan. And it was connected here, and there. It's held down by a bunch of thermal pads right now. Okay, so these were cooled. We have a whole line of cooling there. It just connected with basically right there. Okay. So that's going to be an important part to cool with this cooler if we can. Who knows? We may be going back to air cooling if this this only fits certain 2080s, and if this goofy MSI one is one of the ones that it does not work with, well, guess what? So we have quite a few places we can move this. I guess this slides in there. Before we break anything then, let's flip it back over and take a look-see at our manual for the cooler. English side. Okay, heatsink water block installation, boom. So we have to pull that mid frame off. And it literally tells you nothing about I see. Okay. That made it worlds easier. Okay, perfect. Those are legit junk. For wanting to, would like to take those off of there, and if I have to go back to air cooling. I mean, I have sheets of this stuff to cut up, but if I don't have to, let's not, right? See, this is the part where you get stupid nervous and don't have much to say when you start ripping all this stuff off. Yeah, so much for saving that, right? Done. Lost my patience with it. We'll pick up the scraps of it. When doing this, I would recommend a plastic tool, not a metal tool. Metal seems to shear stuff off fairly easy. So can plastic, but metal always seems to do more harm than plastic. There's that brush. Never using them again. We're just putting them on there to get it out of the way. That stuff is donezo. The other ones are in an important spot, kind of like a marker for what we're doing, so keep it for the time being. We need to clean up. This is the important bit of work here. We need to clean up that thermal paste. I'm going to clean all these VRAMs before we stick any of these little heat sinks down on them. And then I have to see what this card is going to leave room for cooling. Because we have hoses running through. Strange way to do that. And you have an adjustment one way where you can, so you can move the whole thing that way and possibly flip it side to side. But I'm guessing that's not what we want here, so let's start cleaning. I'm going to do this quick, done in a hurry, drink time, where we can actually mute. Okay. There we are. It's going to take some IPA and attempt to scrub off the remnants. those silicone pads that were heavily smashed and fairly dried out. Again, for anybody watching, this is a case of live learning. I've never water cooled a 2080, but I've messed with water cooling on many other cards, so I'm slightly familiar with it. But never did a 2080 Ti, so here we go. Or never messed with any water cooling from ID Cooling as a company. Throw that away. Let's use a dry one. We're going to try and get some of this gunk. So I'm just taking this little brush here and trying to remove the tiny pieces, or tiny wads of dried out thermal compound. Thermal paste is still stuck between those capacitors. It's kind of tough to get up. Let's give it another good clean. And start checking out our alignment. Alright, looks good there. This thing is an odd choice, having that here and then passing the hoses over all that. When could you flip that whole unit and have them come out up on this end? You'd be probably not enough room. Well, let's follow the instructions. So the arrow points toward the copper plate. Okay, let's get our card out of the way. We have some assembly to do. On this base here. Then we have more assembly to do on the card, and then we attach everything. These two plates, it says that there's an arrow, so we're going to attach these down, and then the arrow is going to attach or point toward the copper plate, which you can see that there. Let's try and zoom this in. Get this camera right. Let's flip these around, get right down there, get in the business of this thing, and see what is happening. So this is what we're looking for here. Right there and there. Attach those. Our arrows pointing in. And let's check this size just to make sure everything got bagged correctly. You want to make sure that the top side of this is going to mount. Okay, it's going to hit the outer corners of the 2080 Ti. That's perfect. Let's put it together. We need to find the screws. I'm guessing it would be these ones in this bag. What is that one oddball screw about? Alright, we found the right thread. Let's get our plates on. Or plates, mounting bracket, whatever you want to call it. No way. Okay, I thought it stripped out like that little bit of metal. I would believe it. There's just a burr there. There's one and the last one. Alright, that part's done. We'll peel that off when we get ready to mount this. Now, either the long or the short screws accordingly. We're going to look at the screws that came out of the back of our RTX card and see which ones match up, long or short. So do they just give you, okay, so they give you one extra of each. I'm actually worried there's two extra of this one. What are the extra parts for here? Ah, never mind. So one extra. And it appears that we need the short one. Yes, short, not long. To be fair, they're both about the same height, but the silver ones are much longer. I believe these weren't even in there. No, they were. 16.13.3, 16.13.5. We'll look at the map for our particular card. What are these? Just super thin thermal pad. Okay. Yeah, basically like the heat sinks that are applied on the 1060. Or between the heat sink and the VRAMs and other stuff. So super thin. Look at our card, look at our map. Well, let's find out how many there are. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. So we're 3 shy. And then it shows 5 going across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did we get any redos? Did we get one redo? I'm not sure how the best move is going to be to do this. Probably with tweezers. Holding this and then align it the best we can. This one's already curled, so we're going to make the most out of it. Not square, but not terrible. And again, and use right in the dirt. Right in the dirt. Don't pull, Nick. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Too bad you cannot time lapse while you're live streaming. That would be super awesome. But This is not my favorite type of thing to do at all. But we gotta do it, allegedly. Which, I'm not understanding. Why, how? I guess this is just helping relieve, or helping pull heat off of that area. There's not gonna be any fan hitting it, nothing blowing across it. Maybe residual air, but nothing major, so. But it says to do it, so we're gonna be a good assembly person and stick these on to our new GPU, newer. That is too sideways. I can't live with that one like that. We're going for a redo. Man, this is tedious work. I think the ones, not the 1060, but the last card before that I played around with, I think the heat sinks already had the, I don't remember having to peel and then stick. And peel and, peel and stick. I remember just peel and stick the heatsink down, but I could be wrong. Alright, so this is our last one of this size. We're going to have to use 3 out of there to finish that area, which is fine, I hope. I think it's the thickness that they're, what the difference is the thickness. 3 and 5, I think one's 3 millimeter, one's 5, so let's hope there's room for 5s over there. If not, yeah, we're gonna have to order some and see. Because we did not get enough of these in this bucket o parts. Yeah, it is. It's the height. Yee. See, and the bad thing is, okay, so the VRAM and the MOSFET modules, which would be here. So we need to stick them there in our VRAM. So let's see how many of these 5mm ones it's going to take. You know what we could have done differently, I suppose. Would have been stupid, but 1, 2. We'd end up with 1. We'd end up with our 2 extra. We might have to do it. Let's do that. We're going to rearrange here for a moment. If these will come off peacefully. So here's the plan. We're going to take and split them among them. Keep all 3mm on this side. Because we don't have enough, honestly. Instead of having to use 4 there, we just got away with 3, and we're coaling. And I think we're going to do the same here. So, we only need 1 more. Let's move this, and we'll split it between both of them. Probably not my best idea. I think these 3 are going to fit like so. Yeah, they will. Which sucks. That leaves that one open to... You need a lot of cooling going through that one little heat sink. So be it. I don't think that we have room. I think they're 3mm to leave room around this water, but there is not much room at all. Let's say there was room and we could have stuck one of these on there easily. You don't know till you go to try, and I'd rather have 3 on the side that the book is telling me have 3 on. We're going to be able to do 2 with 1 on these. So we need 4 across there. And how much higher is 5 than 3. It looks like it would be too much going around. Take it back, we're doing it this way. Looking at it a second time, this side is more than likely going to be completely open, where our extra 5s will likely be able to go. So in the long run, what do we need? 3 5s, and we will have that extra. Same dimensions, the rest of the way around, just slightly taller. Like they're the same dimension, they're just going to be slightly taller, sticking up off the board, and this side will be open from that. I think that's our best move there. So let's try that. How many stickers do we have? Enough? When I say 4 across there, doubled up, 1, 2, 3, 4, it leaves us with 4 extra, so we get exactly enough stickers, no extra parts. Let's do it. And hope this is going to work. Amazing, wonderful YouTube that for some reason or other doesn't work for everybody. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to knock that down. And continue with this. Yeah, I'm really going to have to work out the logistics on using Restream Studio for anything future. Like, it's cool, it makes it easy to connect you with other people, but not something I want to, yeah. But just everything I've learned basically goes out the window other than you're live. Or maybe I didn't learn anything at all. I mean, maybe that's more to the point. I'm an idiot and wasn't doing anything properly. Like, welcome to the world of what you should have been doing. Okay, so they don't fit that way. We gotta squeeze them in sideways, and it's gonna double stack on our MOSFET packages. Actually, it's double stacking everywhere. MOSFETs, capacitors. There's another one of those rogue ones that didn't want to peel. Finally, this tedious part over. I was not looking forward to this. This was like, yeah, let's worry about this when we get to it. Not looking forward to it at all. Okay. That one is split among the two. Last one with one extra. Now, how I'm gauging this, if this pad was going to be in the way across these components here, the stock one, is it doesn't stick up higher than the heat sinks. Like, we can slide freely, it doesn't grip. You can see if you touch it, it wants to stop from sliding. Across the heat sinks stick up higher than it, so if there's room for the heat sinks, there's going to be room for it when we assemble this monster. Alright, let's get a move on with this thing and see. We need a fair sized blob. I actually think that's going to work out not too shabby. I'm still keeping the bottom on this thing for right now. or the sticker on. Zoom this out some so we can see more. I just want to see the fitment. That will go. And guess what? So here's what we got to do. We got to flip-flop some components. Even though it was mostly going to be open, the 5mm ones were not going to work in that sense. See if they work on this side. If not, I guess we'll get the sander out. Let's flip this up and see. Or we may be facing the same now. Let's find out. I don't understand. Alright. Get off of there, magnet. Oh my. Okay, so we're lining up right there with our mounting holes. Sorry, I had to stick my head in the way. The 5mm have room on this side, but the side where there's really no heat sink, the brackets just came too close to them, so they were too high to let the brackets the bracket pass over the ends of it, if that makes sense. So this is the way we're going to have to do it. We're going to put a blob on here, flip it over, and clamp everything together. Oh wait, you leave that on there? Is that plastic to help it spread? Remove before installation. Okay. Nope. Okay. Realize everything's not straight, but we're working with hoses here. Let's see if we have enough MX4 that we think we can squeeze a nice sized blob out. I'm not certain. I hope. It takes a lot. That should do it. Just kind of spread it out with the tip of this. We're going to hope that covers and cools. Let's get our screws ready. So 1, 2, 3, number 4. Screwdriver. And really try to avoid sliding this. I'm going to try and line the holes up as I set it down. Or at least get 2 of the holes where I can see them. And we should be able to set the rest on from there. One partially down. Let's go for this other diagonal. Partially in. And give it the clamp, see what happens. Gonna take this off of our PCI Express slot right now, little rubber cap. And unlike the 1080, we're going to keep around the parts, the air cooling parts for this, throw them in a box, stash them. And if we ever want to go back to air cooling, we will have it. I think that's the more important part. So now, time to put it in the system. Actually, we need to make a cable, but I think we can throw this in the system quick to get this done. And then we'll make the cable last. So let's move the cables we think we're going to need out of the way. And the card, more importantly, card with the rest of the goods out of the way. It's funny they separate all the screws. They have 8 places. 8 places for your screws that are going to go into your rad. But they have 4 screws per bag. I guess that's in case you want to double stack, or I don't know. I don't know what purpose they have them split up. We have all 8 of those out now to screw it to the bottom case. Where the other hardware. Throw our extra screw in here. And we should have a bag left over to put all of our actual MSI hardware in for the air cooler. Do that. That. Alright. Everything left over into one bag. Little heat sink, the last thermal pad. We have our 8 screws out for the rad going into the bottom of the case, and all of our wiring type hardware over here. We have 1 bag left over. Gently move that out of the way and get this monster back up here. We have some other work to do before we get to the graphics card, and we're going to try and do this now, hopefully. What a nightmare this is going to be getting this thing off here. I just know it is. Maybe not. Maybe not. I was scared for no reason right there. Perfect. Okay. very quickly, let's throw these onto... That's really weird. Throw these onto a Corsair fan, because we're putting one of them up on there. And they were stickers. Okay. Lesson learned. Don't put stickers where you may want to undo screws later on in life. I think we can unstick this and move it slightly further down without any ill effect. Mostly out of the way of our screws. And granted, this isn't for the fan. You know what? Hold on here a minute. I have another set of these brackets. I just don't know where at the moment. Because it comes with two, one for either side, to do like a push-pull config. Okay, everything moves. Moving this over to a Corsair fan, we want the wire dropping out basically in the same spot. As close to the motherboard as possible, which is going to be one of the bottom corners. These two, which I believe will be like that. We could actually hide the wires and have enough room to do so, because one's going back there and one is going over here, and there is enough of a split in the wires to hide them. I think we'll do it that way instead of having it show when you're looking at it from the side. We'll actually drop that right out the bottom. Cooler master fan out of the way, and Corsair fan almost installed. We should airline this quick. For time, we're not. I can do that later. We might. Stay straight. Finally, let's move this last pad that we failed to move at first. Is it going to work? That's the main concern. I don't. Like, I see it grabbing, but it's just not. Did we get it? Oh, except the bottom corner. The bottom corner does not want to grab. Got it. Nice. Okay, one in. We have to remove the 140. Who knows where it's routed to? Does it disappear over the top? It does. You monster. You got it zip tied in there. Okay, that was the zip tie and not the wires. That goes up over the top. We got to solve where this fan wire goes currently, so it needs extracted. Where do you disappear to? Stupid. Aha. Really no. Okay. Get to that later. We need to unscrew our 140, which is over on this side, on the back. 140 filled that space so nice, but I don't have anywhere else to put that other IQ fan, at least not that I can see it. And I don't want to put it in a push-pull. We don't need it. It's a Core i5, 3570K, 3rd gen. This thing rocks out good enough, as is. Disappear 140. And it's one of those Antec ones that has little where is it? The little controller. So you can select high, medium, and low. Like it come these usually generally come built in Antec cases. Other fans so we can see it, with the wires being hidden as much as possible under the fin stack. I only wonder, will 120 be enough for the back of this case? We have 2 pulling in and 3 pushing out. Should be. And eventually we will have 3 in and 5 out. So hopefully not too much negative pressure, whatever that would be. Very good. So these have to come over. Alright, so we pulled on the zip ties a little and pulled one wire through further than the other. We need to try and there, we just evened everything up. Perfect. So it's going to drop down right in front of the video card and shoot through the back, and we should still be able to reach where we're going to have to hide our IQ controller once it drops through the back. Two fans will go to the same PWM splitter. Oh, we do have a 4-pin. Okay, so we can put... Well, I don't know if we put the pump here or put it on the splitter. I think we might put the pump there. Even though it's 4 and it's a 3-pin, I think we'll do it that way. Let's start routing the wires. They're down under where they need to be. Alright, wires routed for our two Corsair fans that we moved. We're zoomed out to the max on that camera. We get to do a little soldering here very shortly. This is going to be fun. We will make all connections here in a bit. For now, I want to see... What do we want to see? We have our GP wire already fed through there. Let's try and put the unit in here and see if it's going to fit. If it does, we'll clip the card in, set the rad in, screw the rad in, and then continue from there. This is what I was not sure of. Is it going to work? Is it going to look crazy? Are we going to have to twist the wires uncontrollably to feed that? Yeah, it's going to have to do like a goofy bend. So, let's keep in mind we're playing with a 2080 here, which is not something I look forward to playing with today. Right, wait, it's a TI. Yeah, I'm not even lying, it's 2080 Ti. I was not hoping to have to mess with this thing in this capacity. We could twist it that way and feed it back, or that way and send it forward. I think sending it forward may be our answer for right now. We'll work out the wiring portion of it later. Wow. Yeah, no, back. Okay, so we did get to keep our back plate on. We have to keep in mind it's just sitting there. Let's mute this up quick. Give me a second. Boy, how many times can you say you're doing that? Working on your gaming computer while talking about a gaming computer. That was kind of cool. I had some questions. I'm not a hardware expert. I just know a small amount about computers. Okay, so we're getting this rad screwed in here. Everything buttoned up, fastened down. We're on the last part of this system upgrade. The AC is not working as good as I'd hoped it would, so we're actually sweating doing this one, but we gotta wrap it up here. Not wrap it up right now, right here, but we're wrapping this up. We literally have, I think, a wire. Excuse me, wiring. We have wiring to do. As soon as I get, I think, one more screw in and tighten down this radiator on the bottom. Huh, an extra screw, imagine that. Now, the even bigger question is, with these screws in here, and everything tightened down, they got fairly big heads on them. Will my filter still slide in the bottom without being obstructed by the screws? Yes, it does. Perfect. That's all I cared about. Dust filter. But it's blown out, so it's still going to catch it somewhat, but... Now we got this mess to sort out. So that's an important wire to keep track of. So is that. That is our pump. That's the one that we should have fed under and up to the system. All this shit's coming out. It's going to disappear through the back. What is this? This is going to this fan. I think, because it is a Ford, no, we're sending it to the back too. Everything's going to be pushed through right here by the card. So guess what? We're losing the wireless card. No big deal. I can deal with that. We'll throw a USB wireless in if, you know, if it matters that much, which it don't. And there's our silly ass cables for our dual 8-pin. I don't have 2 single 8-pin runs or even 2 single 6 plus 2-pin runs for this power supply. We get the goofy loop, so be it. We got to deal with it. We lose. Yeah, we lost. I think these are aluminum. Is that why they're not magnetic? No, there's something magnetic. We lose our wireless card, but our HD60 Pro can still go in, so we can capture stuff without having our GPU do it. So kind of happy about that. Not extremely happy about the wireless, but we can sacrifice wireless. We don't use it. I run this hardwired, so no trouble to lose the hardwired capability of it. We're going to test out some Phasmophobia VR with this tonight once I get it home. I'm going to do the driver and configuration and all that there, but I should be able to show, boot it up quick. Don't need to show it on screen, but we can at least set up the lighting and hopefully get the lighting of this new water cooling matching or other LED strips and Corsair stuff. I usually have it set for like audio, like a VU meter, audio, like synced with the audio. It's kind of my favorite thing to do. Call it silly if you want, but that's what I like. So that's what I like. Okay, these have to go back. That's got to go back. All this stuff needs to be fed through the case, through the other side. Our fans are still going down. All that's well and good. I had to ditch it's not a gaming motherboard by any means, but I had to ditch my front USB 2.0 ports. So yeah. Oh well. It happens. May get a splitter for it, may not. Let's get these wires fed through so we can get this build done and do some soldering, which is my favorite thing to do that I don't get to do enough of. I should stop complaining about that. Soldering is, by any stretch of the word, my favorite thing to do, especially under microscope or just with your eyes. But not enough of this stuff calls for it when you're talking computers. Alright, one portion of the cabling fed through. We have to make this stuff get through there as well. First, let's feed it down under. I don't like the twist on that, but we really didn't have much option. I had no loop room left, unless I want to lose all these drives, which is crazy to have in here these days. They usually find a way to hide them. I could do away with the optical drive and probably get at least 2 of them in there and ditch the 1 terabyte. I would open this up for some more airflow and everything, but that's a project for another day, not today. We're going with what we can do right now, right in the here and now today. There's a bundle of cables there, like a massive wall. So let's get these up and out. There, and they should be able to pass through the top of the video card cable where it goes through with a little bit more ease. Which one did I want to run off of? Fan or the pump off of the system? I think we do the fan, system fan, because if it detects it's hot, that would speed this up. Or do we do the pump off of the header on the motherboard? Let's go with the 4-pin. Wow, I'm not even sure we're going to make this fit in there and work. Spin it around. And then we'll loop that little loop of cable out the back as best we can. Right on top of our GPU. We're going to stand this up to do this, so I suppose we'll switch up to this one where you can actually see the case standing up. Not that it's important, you're just going to see the top. We got to get the wires ran and get a move on with this. And this is why most computer builds, upgrades, stuff like this, when you watch videos on YouTube, are not really done in real time. It's generally, time-lapsed. Something to cut out all the uninteresting bits. Alright, that's the fan. Well, if we can make these disappear in that bundle, that would be great. Right out through. Alright, 1 RGB, 3 pin. Let's go for 2. Fan wire, we'll try it. I don't know if we can get it. I'm not really working with much, but we'll try and catch the loop and pull it through. Okay, got it. Leave a little bit of slack. We don't want to pull that too tight. Alright, all wires are pulled through. Let's flip this over to the back side of the case so we can start working on the wiring portion of this. The card is screwed in. And we have to contend with the mess that we have here, which is a fairly big mess. We'll leave this open. So we have our IQ stuff. We know right where that goes. Boy, some extensions on that would be nice. However, we're going to go with what we can get. We'll put it here, there. That is going to be stretching it. I think we gain some room if we run the wires underneath everything. So let's do that. Okay, nice, nice, nice. We're not getting through that wall of cabling or under it. It's fairly solid. We're just going to have to pass over and plug in. Okay, there's that. We'll let that sit there. We have 2 wires here to plug in. Which you really can't see, but they're going into a PWM splitter that sets here. We'll hide the loop of wires. They're literally getting tucked in at this point. Let's see how much more we have to connect. So we need all this will go together with an accessory that came with it. And then these. There's the 4. I'm going to send there goes our pump plugged in. Now to tackle this mess. So here's a mess that we have to deal with. We have to go from this to Corsair LED strip. We're going to connect all that stuff as an LED strip and have it controlled that way. Which all this comes through here. These drop down, so we're going to try and attempt to hide this in the bottom. We're going to end up putting a cap on one of them, I believe. Okay, there's that. Do we have to daisy chain this in order? Let's not risk it. We'll daisy chain. I don't know how daisy chaining works always, so we're going to go in order down the cable. We'll cap the end so we don't have these pins touching anything, because we are carrying 5 volt on one of these, and this is the end we're going to want to make. I suppose we could really use either. It's a cable. Electricity shouldn't flow directional, at least on this. What got pinched there? I don't like that at all. Oh, it's a sticker. Okay, I thought the cable got flattened. One, two, three. Alright, so here goes our little rubber cap to cap over the end of this. As far as keeping this together, I don't know for right now, it's going to be Velcro. We may pull this back open and do something further some other day. Do we do Velcro? I don't have any heat shrink this big. How about we trust it not to fall out of there, and then we'll put the back cover on. I'm going to say, as yet undecided. Put one of these around some stuff. Not too ridiculously tight, but enough to bundle our cables together for now. We still need to go this to Corsair. So, a simple explanation. Maybe we even solder this right over the computer. So, where's the cable? Okay, so here is your standard 3-pin Corsair locking DuPont connector, is what this is. Let's go back to this one. So this is a locking DuPont connector, which plugs into when you have like a Lighting Node Pro or Lighting Node Core, any of those, and you have the 3-pin. It doesn't plug into the 3-pin or the 4-pin fan head, but you can get a wire that converts the 4-pin RGB fan hub over to 3-pin wire. But I have this spare spot here, and we're going to run these other lights off this water cooling like it is an LED strip. So we're going to throw that in there, and then the other wire can run out, and like it runs 3 LED strips that are in the system. The other end's chopped off, and I started tinning, and I'm like, I'll show how this is actually done. I took the time and chopped apart, pulled apart one of these, which is, where is it? Basically one of these ends, but you can see it's a 3-pin because it has the 1 blocked off and not a 4. It was a 3, just like this, and that's what we need, not the 4-pin 12-volt fit based off of the 50/50. We need the 3-pin with 1 blocked off that is the 5-volt ARGB kind. Let's try and show this. So on these you have a little triangle, whether you can see that or not. That's going to be your 5-volt line, and then you have your data, and then your ground. You also have that on your locking DuPont connector for your Corsair wiring, and this is noted. There's a little arrow on the 5-volt line, so you'll have 5-volt data, ground, same thing. So we need to connect these wires. What I did, these wires are typically stuck together and such. I pulled the 5-volt away from this LED extension cable, pulled the 5-volt away from the other one, so I know which one's 5-volt, and we need to connect up 5-volt data and then ground. And when I was pulling this apart, I broke the back of the 1 pin off, so we can still solder to it. It's just not going to be as picture perfect. Let's do a little prep to our cables here. We're going to put some heat shrink down over it so we can make it look a little nicer as an end result for it being a cable that we're going to manufacture. Did that just, that slid and dropped? There it is. Is that really the case? Yeah, that is. Okay. Go over the wires. Thank you. So we have that one over, and then we have to put 3 little ones over. We're going to insulate these from each other where they connect to the ARGB header or connector. So we have 3 pieces of, what do you want to call this? Heat shrink. Going over wire 1, 2, and 3, or 5V, D, and G. Now's the time when we want to pay particular attention to stuff. That's fine. We'll give this a twist. That way we know. Alright, ready? Let's get our helping hands up here. We're going to do this right over the computer. As silly and stupid as it sounds. Why? Because we can. We have the technology. We've got some helping hands. Okay, so we have our little connector here. We have our helping hands grab that. And we're going to be working backwards away from us, which is not comfortable but can be done. So we need to get our 5-volt line for our Corsair connector, our locking DuPont, which is the one with the arrow. We know it's the single line, the one we pulled away. That is our 5-volt. Let this iron heat up. Okay, we have a connection. Now, we really need to pay attention and figure out which line is which. These other ones will be marked coming off of the locking DuPont Corsair style connector. So we have one with writing on, and the other one has nothing. At least in this cable. This might have been a 2-pin and I added the third wire. No, I had to separate it. Okay, so the one on the far right on this one has writing on. That's our ground, so we want the wire with no writing next, which is going to be our data. 5-volt and data are going to be side by side for this cable that we're making to go from Corsair 3-pin to ARGB. Alright, we made the connection, and then let's connect our ground wire, which is the one with the writing. And we're going to trace it out before we do anything to make sure. Okay, that is connected as well. No loops, following the wire straight out. It does indeed go to the ground position on our connector. So let's get our heat shrink up over these lines. Or each of these runs, these lines, these wires. Let our helping hands hold that. I'm going for quick. I don't have hot air, so we're just going to fire up the lighter. Don't you fall and scratch anything. Okay, please do not use lighters at home, kids, unless you are being monitored. I don't recommend it. If you're using a heat gun, have somebody watching you that knows what's going on, what you're doing. So here's a bigger piece of heat shrink. We need to send some heat to that to shrink things down. Again, we're going to flip it. And heat the other side of it very quickly. Alright, has our wires connected. And then I have a piece that we're going to stretch out with our super skinny needle nose. And this is going to be the piece that covers everything, so we're going to stretch it out to fit over the one connector, like so. It will start shrinking, so get a move on. Fit it over your connector, get it into place where you want it. Look at that, we can put that 5 right where our 5-volt line is. Cool, if it stays there and doesn't shrink out of the way. Alright, so be it. And like I said, when I tore this apart and was trying to use heat to pull it out, I did move that one little pin, but it will still connect. We're going to use a 4-pin jumper or connector coupler like this. What I'm going to do is pull the one pin out. So we'll attempt to do that. We may have to hit it with some heat to get it out. Yeah, let's do that. We're going to hit it with a little heat. And then just start pull it. Should be able to pull it right out, hopefully. Get out of there. As long as you pull one of the center 2 pins, one of the center 2. You'll be good, because you need 2 side by side and 1 on the other end. The 2 side by side are going to be, again, you will have your 5-volt, your data, and then your ground. I don't lose my cable. Okay, so here we go. We're going to plug this in. It won't go that way. We have the pin blocked off. It will definitely go this way. Now, for that other wire we just made, wherever it went, right here. So we have our locking DuPont connector on one end, this on the other. We're going to plug into our Lighting Node Pro. We'll put these together. Like so. Actually, let's see if we can get one more piece of heat shrink on that. I think that may be good if we can. And we will call it quits here. Ooh, that's quite a stretch, but we're going to need a bit of a bigger piece. Shut up, Windows. But here we go. We got it stretched out. Let's try and get it over the connectors. Before it shrinks. Go together. And we will secure this one because we made it here. We're going to heat shrink it together to keep it together. Don't know how reliable the connection would be. Probably as reliable as the other 3 pins, but hit it with the heat. Alright. Fairly tied together. Pretty good. We'll go with it. This can sit down in there. Feed this wire over for right now till we know this is good, and a project for another day. Legit just looping this in and tucking it. We're not tying anything in with the rest, not tidying it up. And that's as tidy as it's going to get right there for now. We're actually going to trust that we can fit a back panel on here as is. Let's hope so. I think so. Let's try it. Do I have anything more to plug in? I don't believe I do. Alright, side panel's on, no big hump or lump in it running across it, which is phenomenal. Going across the case, can't see any big hump in the side panel, so everything's nice and flat. Wires are being held in. Let's flip this over, give it a quick post test, and see if we can get the wiring or the lighting to match. We should have lights. But it's not, if we have lights, it's not going to be controlled by this silly ass, where'd it go? This silly ass thing here, where we gotta click buttons to change modes, colors, and speed. Not happening, my friend. Not happening. Okay. Case up, do the flip. And it all goes up in smoke. 2080 everything right here. We ready for that? Okay, there's that. We should be able to get the gist of the system. I think we can see most of it right there. Yeah, that works. Quickly, we're going to hook up HDMI just to the monitor I have here. Mouse, keyboard, and a power cable. Perfect. Long cable, not a short one. And give me a mouse and keyboard that's workable, please. Where is this one? Got it. Okay, so we got our mouse and keyboard. Let's turn it on. It's on. Let's plug in the dongle, plug in our power, and hope. I'm going to switch our iron off so we can eventually get it out of the way. I'm guessing we're not going to have any drivers at the moment. Okay, so we have some whatever is built in to the stock. Uh-oh. Alright, whatever's programmed as a default profile for the LED strips is happening. We don't have any lights yet, here or here. That may be configuration. We'll see. Computer's booting up fine, and undoubtedly it's going to need a graphics driver. And we'll get to that. We will definitely 100% get to that. Do I have something playing? Oh my god, if that was playing, I'm gonna murder something. How did that happen? How did that happen? I apologize. We'll have to fix the video if possible. Okay, quickly we're gonna boot the computer up. What we care about is lighting. So we're going to have to fire up IQ, go into it, and see if my other software loads up. It looks like it is. Graphics driver, like I said, that's being handled at home. What I care about right now, cancel. Alright, everything loading up, fine. Good to go, let's go. I can't believe that. That's why you never leave this shit. Never leave your window up. You don't need to monitor stuff. You monitor in OBS. You don't need YouTube windows up and all that other crazy shit. If that wasn't up, it wouldn't have became unmuted. Okay, IQ has showed up. We need to open a window on my computer. I have two programs that open. IQ opens and then another one opens that takes kind of control of it. So we'll make sure they're both open. There's our default profile. Is it trying to load itself? That's why. Quit. Alright, the computer's crying. We have to give it internet quick. Okay, so hopefully this isn't making it in the stream. If it is, I'm going to mute the video that I'm playing. The video's muted, so we don't have that mishap again. We do have lights, but I need to go into IQ, so I need to bring it to the front. There it is, lighting node core, lighting node pro. I can't even see this stuff. So 3 RGB strips, lighting setup. Lighting on channel 2 is going to be RGB LED strip. And we now have some lights on our side here, on our fan underneath. You can just barely see from this camera. And then on our fans on our rad. And it's just the pukey rainbow color, but that is it. What happens if we change it to 3? Everything stays lit. I'm going to change it down to 2. Everything is still lit, and change it finally down to 1 because it's can possibly be seen as 1, and then the other stuff started working in IQ because there was no conflict. Perfect. Lighting channel 1, lighting channel 2. Something is going on. Channel 1, channel 2. Let's consider this as 1, 2, and 3 LED strips for lighting in channel 2. We'll do it that way. 3 and 3. Lighting channel 2, rainbow wave. Get out of here with that. We want audio lighting. Close. Can we get our other app running? There it is. Open back up so I can see you. I need to change you. Quit. Devices. Fans. Apply. Open back up. Okay. And we have it. Audio's playing. I guess it could be annoying to look at, but they're all kind of synced. Let's darken this thing way up. So I mainly have the colors for a VU meter, like the yellow, green, and red. There is a little bit of blue on the one because they're hooked up in different places. How these fans are seen, it starts on one fan and continues over to the other for these two fans, because they're actually seen as the front and back of one fan. They're older off of an H100, and they're just the single light loop Corsair fans. They don't have it on each side. And they're definitely not the QL fans. They're the old original LL that came with an H100i Elite Special Edition RGB whatever blah blah blah. Anyhow, RGB lighting addressed. Flashy and annoying, but it's what I like for when normally it's whenever I'm editing audio or video and listening to that, and that's when it's doing it. It doesn't really draw my attention away because I'm listening to the audio. So there we have it. RGB addressed. The fans don't really match up, but you know what? Water cooled 2080. I'm not going to complain, not going to kick on it. Thanks for hanging out, checking this stream out with me. we are going to shut all this down. And they just go down to this real barely lit whitish blue whenever audio is paused. So we're going to shut it down from now. Thanks for hanging out, clicking the link, coming over. I do appreciate it. Back to whatever default is set for whenever it's not running. And we're getting out of here today real quick after I throw my side panel on. I'm unplugging the mouse and keyboard, turning this crap off. But I do want to say this, get the side panel on and throw this out there. I did say it earlier in the video, computer shut down anytime. There we go. Thank you. Bleed the power. Filter side panel so I can get out of here. Like I said, graphics driver temps to be determined at a later date, like in a half hour when I get home. But let me know. What is the mission going to be? If I can find it. I have so much stuff sitting here, I don't even know where I put it. Are you kidding me? I completely spaced. Is that it? Ah, there it is. Let me know. What is the fate? We have to throw 220 fans on this thing. What is the fate for this repaired 1060? What are we going to do with it? Go over, check out the video, the Turbo Dead 1060. Will it FPS again? Leave me a comment. Tell me what we're going to do. Stress test it, torture test it, like under some extreme conditions. Give it away to somebody, resell it, get some money back. Raffle it off. What do we do with this? You know, of course it will include 220mm fans, not Corsair fans, but 2 appropriately sized fans to keep it cool, both 4-pin PWM fans. So, yeah. What are we going to do with this? Go watch the video, leave a comment, let me know. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. Share it, get it out there, subscribe if you're not already. My name's Nick. We do fun stuff like this from time to time. See you in the next video.